we have some pretty big news here coming out of Cinco Squad. We have a affiliation partnership with Fans Idea. That's fansidea.com. We are official partners with them now. We're going to put our discount code in the description, but also it's going to be right down here. Check out Trey's jersey here. We got our own Cinco Squad jerseys here. Good material, great jersey. They have everything: hockey, baseball, soccer, hoodies, t-shirts, baseball caps, anything you want. And they can do any logo, any type of description. As you can see, the cursive on Trey's jersey there was almost identical to the cursive up top. Make sure you check it out. We're super excited. That is fansidea.com. Super pumped. Cinco Squad 10 is the discount code. Go ahead and type that in. It is active now. So Cinco Squad 10. Yeah, buddy. We're back for another week here. This is Cinco Squad. My name is Jonathan Sawyer. With me is TreyDay, Grandpa J, and a special guest, B. Smith, Brandon Smith. Thanks, Brandon, for joining us today. He's going to join us the whole show and hopefully not beat us up too bad on NFL talk here. So, Brandon, welcome to the show. Brandon has a podcast called Cocktails with Cocktails.
What up, though? This is B. Smith. Thanks for having me. I have a sex podcast by day, and I talk about sports all day via text. So I was invited on the show, and I appreciate you guys for having me. Definitely giving me my 2-minute rant. I wore this specialized jersey on the side for Kobe because today is his birthday. Kobe is one of the few people who has inspired me, and I never met the motherfucker. So I wanted to talk about Kobe in my 2-minute rant about how he strives for greatness. And also tell a quick Kobe story. Kobe was in Detroit and he was at Sweetwater, and I left work because I had a stomach ailment, and I ran to Sweetwater to see him, and he was no longer there. But I like to lie to myself and say I seen him and bought him a shot. Also, since I am a host of a sex podcast, Cocktails with Cocktails, CWC the podcast on Instagram, I have to do a rant about sex, right? I eat ass. Everybody should do it. It's fun. It really gives you that good vitamin that you need that you didn't think you needed. And also ask for permission and make sure she comes. That's what I stand by.
You ready to talk some football and argue with everyone?
I'm ready to talk a lot of sports. I'm ready to shit on Cleveland, Ohio State, everything. And I'm ready to rep Kobe all day.
Let's get it over to Grandpa Jay with his lock of the week.
Yeah, buddy. So wait, first of all, I've been looking all over the Fans Idea site today. I am completely enamored by the graffiti pattern. I think you guys are going to see me looking like a Skittles packet sometime soon when I get my jersey. That might be the first one I go with. If you guys get a chance to check it out, the graffiti patterns are dope. Anyway, let's get to the lock of the week, gentlemen. So the easiest lock of the week is last week, Chelsea at home. How disappointing for Chelsea fans. We're talking the real football across the pond, otherwise known as soccer here in the United States. Chelsea hosts West Ham at home. West Ham goes down 10 men with about 30 minutes left in the match. West Ham's up by 1 goal. You figure Chelsea's pressing them. There's no way they're going to come out of this match with a point. They're going to come back and win the game. Not only do they lose the game, they give up a penalty to West Ham in the dying minutes and injury time. West Ham goes on to win 3-1. So who might be strolling into town to play Chelsea this week? Well, it is newly assigned Luton Town, who's moved up to the Prem. And Luton Town is not going to beat Chelsea this week. This is going to be the easiest bet of the week you can make. Unfortunately, it's one of those games where you have to bet 1,000 to win 100. So it's not like the payout's going to be that great because Chelsea is a heavy favorite. So how about we take it to the Trump? Because here's my real lock of the week here. Chelsea's a guarantee. But the fun lock of the week where you can actually make some money is there were 3 things in sports this week that were an absolute lock. Maybe over the last 2 weeks, there were 3 guarantees in sports. The Ravens win preseason games. Messi scores a goal in an Inter Milan jersey. Or Inter Miami jersey.
Yeah.
And the Yankees lose. However, the Yankees are winning tonight. So congratulations, John. Your boys are actually going to stop the 8-game skid. Things are looking good again for Yankees fans. But here's the deal. They come to the Trop Friday night weekend series. My boy Zach Eflon's on the mound against your boy Garrett Cole. I'm not picking a winner or a loser here. I'm saying that both those guys have a great pitchers duel, and bet the under on Friday night in the Trop. First to four wins that game. Go Rays. You know it's going to be the Rays because we won the Yankees at home. So that is my fun lock of the week. The absolute lock of the week, which you won't make that money on because you got to bet a lot, is Chelsea over Luton Town. But take the under in the Yanks versus the Rays weekend opener on Friday night at the Trop, and you'll make yourself some money this weekend. All right, so we are in the midst of watching the Track and Field World Champs 2023 edition over in Budapest, Hungary. And the Jamaicans actually lost the 100 meter for the first time in many years. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price was, I believe, three-time defending champ. And Sha'Carri Jackson, defending Olympic champ, went up against Sha'Carri Richardson, who we all know had went through a pretty tumultuous time over the past couple of years. And running from the outside lane, Sha'Carri Richardson just got there right before Shericka Jackson. And what I hate is people afterwards saying, oh, the Jamaicans didn't run a good race. They didn't realize that she was coming from the outside lane. They need to plan their races better. It's as simple as this when it comes to the 100 meter. The fastest person on that day, night, whenever it's ran, wins. And Sha'Carri Richardson was the best woman on that night. And they want to make what I hate is people want to make a big deal about it and say, oh, the Jamaicans aren't hungry anymore and this and that. Yeah, well, maybe Sha'Carri Richardson was more hungry than them because this is her comeback story and this might be her time. She was running great going into the World Championships, and rightfully so. The young blood always finds a way to get in there, and she obviously wanted more on that night. People need to stop with that nonsense about why you need to downplay athletes based on their performance and instead praise the athlete that did great on that given night. Sha'Carri Jackson and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price has had their fair share. Even afterwards, the athletes were joking with each other. And Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price goes to Sha'Carri Jackson, an American, and actually wanted a gold medal. And she turned to her and said, yeah, because all you've done is prevent us from winning for the past couple of years. So what they don't realize is that athletes have a great relationship amongst themselves. But we, as the fans, or not, at least I'm not in that category, but so many fans want to try and make a big deal out of something that's nothing, instead of just saying simply, hey, you know what? The best athlete won on that night. But to end on a positive note, big up to Miss Julien Alfred, St. Lucia's pride and joy in track and field right now. She was a collegiate athlete at the University of Texas, the Longhorns, and she was one of the best ever actually indoor athletes. 60-yard NCAA record led them to an NCAA title. She came fifth, and that is St. Lucia's best ever finish in a track event at the World Championships. We were hoping for a medal, but look out for her in the Olympics. Remember that name, Julien Alfred.
But that's Grandpa Jay's Lock of the Week. Make sure you tune in to the socials. We will have that up tomorrow for you to lock it in. Grandpa Jay, thanks for that. And speaking about dominance in the football game, we have NFL coming back, fellas. So it's going to be an interesting season. There's a lot of toss-up now. So, I'm excited for the NFL season because I think it's a huge toss-up. And that's why we're going to introduce our brand new game, This or That. Basically, we're going to have – each of us are going to have a scenario where we go over basically this or that. You know, so we each choose which one we pick and kind of go around the horn like we normally do. So in honor of being a guest on our show, I'm going to throw it over to B. Smith to start us off with his This or That. Brandon, what you got today?
I like to be over-prepared, so I had a few. Since I get to go first, I'm going to go with my first one. I personally think they're going to suck this year. So this is why I picked it. But do the Bills trade Stephon Diggs now or try to fix the situation and possibly trade him at the deadline?
Wow.
That's a great one. That's a really good one.
Right,
and a strong stance. I love Brandon's allowed back here anytime. He hates the Bills. Like, we're good. Like,
I actually like them. I just think that they haven't done anything to get better. But everybody else has. So they're just going to be a middle of the pack, maybe 6, 7 seed this year.
Yeah.
And if Diggs doesn't want to be there, you just got to let him go. I believe in just letting people go sometimes.
That's exactly how I feel. So who do you want to kick it off?
I'm curious to how Trey feels. He looks concerned. So
no, I'm not concerned. I think if anything, it'll be next, like the off season, but I think he'll finish the season there. Partly because I think in their mind, they think they're probably a better contender than they actually are. So I don't think that they'll basically tap out early. So I can't, especially with them kind of looking like, oh, Von Miller's coming back, and they seem to be high on James Cook. They went out and got Dalton Kincaid. I'll be honest, I agree. I'm not really high on the Bills, but they believe that they're contenders. So to trade Diggs is almost like waving the white flag. So I just don't see them trading him, not now, but the offseason, I think anything can happen because you see every offseason where there's like an unexpected trade. Tyreek Hill gets traded. You're like, oh shit, didn't see that coming. Antonio Brown a few years ago. It seems always be like some receiver that we're like, oh damn, I can't believe they just traded that receiver off. So I think, eventually it'll happen, but they're gonna put their chips in on this season. Honestly, and this is a side note, as of this, if they're smart about it, they need to be trying to go find a way to go get Jonathan Taylor if they're going to really push these chips in with Jonathan Taylor being out here on the books.
That would be the only way I would go for them.
Yeah, they need to do it. They got to do something to get in the books. What are you thinking, OJ?
At this point, I can't see them doing that. I mean, who becomes the number one? Gabe Davis? And Gabe Davis might be the most unreliable number 2 in the NFL, period.
That's your boy,
That's your boy. That's not my boy. I'm staying so far away from Gabe Davis in fantasy this year that if someone offers him to me early on or late on for money, I'm saying keep your damn money. I don't want that guy on my roster. Don't even give me money for that guy. Keep him far away from my roster. I just can't see it happening. Oh. It's almost like it would be intentional sabotage for them to go ahead and do that. I love what you said about making that play for Jonathan Taylor because if they're going to win, they have to win now. The AFC is probably as wide open as it's ever been, even though I do feel like we're going to see Cincinnati, Kansas City Part 3 pending both quarterbacks staying healthy. But it's wide open. The AFC East is also pretty wide open, even though they say it's more competitive with Aaron Rodgers and a healthy Tua Tagovailoa. That's a big question mark. That still makes the Bills the front runner for me in the AFC East. So I don't see them doing something so desperate at this moment here. I don't think they have to make such a desperate move. So I'm saying gamble on keeping Diggs, keep him happy by throwing him the ball a whole bunch for the first month of the season. His tune might change if they're 4-0 and people are talking about them being the contender in the AFC. And let's see what happens for the Bills this year.
Let them lose a few games.
Yeah.
We'll be back here.
Yeah, we'll be
so
right
Brandon,
back here.
You think he's going to become like a malcontent? Is that what you think?
I think that he's already malcontent. I think that the Bills, I believe in manning up about shit, right? And the Bills didn't talk to him the entire offseason, knew that he had an issue. And to me, this is where you be a man about it as the quarterback or as the head coach or both together to try to fix it before the season comes. Since they didn't do that, doing a trade like him for Amari Cooper and a 5th round pick or something like that, you might lose a little bit of the receiver, but somebody that wants to be there is going to play a lot better and a lot harder than someone who doesn't want shit to do with you.
Yeah, I mean, what was your this or that again? Will they trade Diggs or will he stay with the team?
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, though. If it all depends on the situation, right? They go 0-4 and they start hitting the panic button. Him and Josh start going at it with each other. I don't know. I can see them throwing Diggs up there because Josh is their future, ultimately. This is a quarterback's game at the end of the day, so they're never going to get rid of a quarterback. They're going to do everything they can for a quarterback. So Amari Cooper wouldn't be a bad pickup, but I think the Bills are too desperate because the gap between your number 2 and number 1 is so significant that you can't trade away Diggs. Unless you get back an Amari Cooper, unless you get back something. You go get Jonathan Taylor, that's not going to fix the situation in the passing game because they didn't do shit in the draft. In the draft, they went ahead and picked a tight end when they have a great tight end in Dawson Knox. So it doesn't really make any sense to me to sit there and go trade for a running back. You got Dalvin Cook's little brother who played at Georgia. You got Singletary, I think, still.
Nope.
So you have no, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah,
but you have Dalvin Cook's brother is still pretty good. Played on the national championship team, so he's a solid running back. Why do you need to go get Jonathan Taylor and then trade away your number 1? So I would say that the Bills are going to hold on to him, and then if at the end of this season he'll make a decision where he wants to go. To be honest,
well, you made a big statement about the Bills starting 0-4. Let me tell you what their schedule looks like for the first.
I said if they start 0-4.
Yeah, but let's see if that's even a scenario here.
Yeah,
Monday Night Football in New York. All right, Monday Night Football. That's their opener in New York. That's a
potential.
Okay, then they host the Raiders.
That's a potential.
They ain't losing that game.
Yeah,
they go to Washington, which they can lose that game. Okay. And
You're
then
saying they
host
can't lose to the Commanders, but they can't lose to
should
the
definitely be
Raiders?
watching.
No, it's not a cupcake schedule. They go to Washington where they could lose that game, and then they host the Dolphins and Jaguars at home.
Okay,
Which
those
they
are
can
two
never
rough.
So they can go 1-4.
They can go. Let me go
Yeah,
1
there's
and
a
4.
scenario where they go 1 and 4.
Say somehow they actually lose,
Right.
then I'm really for my pick here.
I
Well,
just
yeah, they
can't see.
start 1 and 5 or something. Everything's out the window now. Yeah, now you in flux.
Only the Bengals can go like 1 and 5 and actually make it make sense.
Because of Joe Cool, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, and everyone beating up on Jamar Chase here, saying like, "Oh, he's a terrible teammate." No, he's just saying it's a long ass season. You guys hear that? Where he was like, "Oh, he told Joe Burrow to like, if you need 5 games, just take 5 games." And they were like, "Oh, he doesn't want to play with Burrow anymore." And I'm like,
No.
what? How is that even a statement?
He
was
wants
just saying
to play with Burrow in
if
another
you-
Super Bowl. That's what that means.
Right, exactly.
To the Super Bowl on the road. They don't care about home field advantage.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so he doesn't care as long as they make it in the making it to the playoffs. I'm with Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
Smart
I mean, I was like, I don't know why they're making this into something that's not. He just wants him healthy for the playoffs, the most important time of the year. So
Media's bored. That's all.
yes. So they should have us calling and go and make getting the games and everything like that. So we can ask some good questions. But TreyDay, take it away.
Okay,
What's your this or that?
My this or that, and to be honest with you, I don't even have 100% of answer myself on this. I'm so conflicted on this. They're two very intriguing quarterbacks, and what exactly they're going to do this year. Both of these gentlemen use their legs, so the question is, who's going to have more rushing yards this season, Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields?
Oh, shit.
That's
a good
easy.
one.
That's easy.
Yeah.
All right, it's easy, B. Let's see what it is, Brandon.
Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields doesn't. I don't think that Justin Fields really has the game down. And what's easy for Justin Fields is to run. I mean, he's fast as hell. Like I can't even catch him on Madden. So Justin Fields, when all hell breaks loose, he's going to run. I feel like Lamar Jackson now has the playmakers. He now has the maturity where he's not going to run all the time, especially since he can get injured and he's been injured. I think Justin Fields wants to show that this is his team. So he's going to do whatever he needs to do to put the team on his back. And since the team is going to suck offensively, even though they do have some good weapons on the offensive line now and wide receivers, and they are my sneaker team, I definitely think it's Justin Fields because he has to do whatever the fuck it takes because he might not have a job after this year.
I don't necessarily agree with that because you can teach a rookie. You can teach a youngster. Look, man, we got you weapons. You ain't got to do all what Lamar did. Lamar is already 4 years in the league or 4 or 5 years in the league, won MVP because of his running skills. Yes, they got Odell Beckham, but an older Odell Beckham, we don't even know if he's going to last the entire season. I hope he does. I like watching him play. But ultimately, we've seen him. It would be out of character, in my opinion, to see Lamar Jackson sit in the pocket and roll around and not throw the ball, right? So I have to go Lamar Jackson on this just for that reasoning. He's been doing it ever since Louisville. Continuing, he won a Heisman at Louisville doing that. He also threw the ball. Don't get me wrong, he did throw the ball a lot, but I don't know.
Does anybody know their rushing yards last year? I know he was injured, but I'm just curious.
He was injured for most of the season.
They would have been close to the same pace. I don't have it up right now, but I looked at this when I was doing my thought. If Lamar would have played, their pace would have been almost equal. Like at the pace.
Oh, so I'm really going with Justin Fields. Okay.
But that's my thing, right? Like, so Justin Fields is like, he had a couple scares in some of those games, and they went out and got him weapons in like DJ Moore. They got Chase Claypool from last year in the trade. So they went out and got him weapons to probably alleviate that factor. Like, yeah, use your legs, but I still think he's going to have a high rushing yards, but maybe more towards Jalen Hurts yardage than Lamar Jackson, 1,000-yard rusher, leading the league in rushing yards. So I can't see that. I don't know. The creature of habit is that Lamar Jackson's going to go when he feels the pressure. So
Fields last year 1143, by the way.
That's crazy.
He had 1143 last year.
Lamar,
right?
Lamar was 764 in 2022. Lamar was
how many games? 2022.
Not that many. 1,005.
12
He was
games.
1,206 in 2019, which is like 50 more than what
That was
Justin
the
had last
MVP
year.
year. That was
That
his
was his
MVP
MVP.
year. Yeah.
Yep.
So I can't see him not running the ball because that's all they. I mean, look how many awards he's won by just being a dominant running quarterback. He has a good arm. He has a good arm strength, but he's a dominant runner.
Trey, the answer is Justin Fields. DJ Moore is not the answer to Justin Fields' woes. Neither is bulking up an offensive line that's never played together and has no chemistry. You brought in Todd Monken for a reason. Todd Monken is known for one thing, and that is finding the explosive play as much as possible. And that is not riding on the heels of Lamar Jackson anymore. Because here's the deal. Where do you want Lamar Jackson? You want him behind your center, or do you want him stand up next to John Harbaugh in December? What do you want? So Todd Monken came in for a reason, and that is to make sure that he is not standing up next to head coach John Harbaugh in December. So he will not outrush Justin Fields. Out of desperation, Justin Fields will still prove that he is not a number one, even though he has the potential to be a number one, because he will make ill-will decisions that prove to other teams he might not be our guy.
Okay, so my final decision after going back and forth, I think both are going to be over 1,000 yards. I think Lamar is actually going to end up with more rushing yards. The reason I think Lamar is going to end up with more rushing yards because I think Fields is going to actually spite himself by trying to stay in the pocket to prove to people who keep saying he can't stay in the pocket, he can't throw. See, Lamar on the other end, I know y'all said the risk of him getting hurt, he got paid now. So if he gets hurt, it doesn't really fucking matter. It's the same way it did before because now he's comfortable. That pocket and that wallet is comfortable. So now I think it's like, okay, well, fuck, if I get hurt, I get hurt. I'm going to push it all in. The other thing is, I know people say he got more weapons now, but I know it's Brandon's boy, but Odell ain't going to be there past week 8. By week 8, Odell.
Zay Flowers is the real deal, though. He might win rookie.
I mean, we got to see with the offense what Ravens, other than like an Anquan Bolden type, when did the Ravens ever really, at any point under Harbaugh, no matter who's out there, really just be like, all right, we're going to ball out with like a vertical threats and shit like that. Because if you think, I mean, if Anquan Bolden wasn't even a vertical threat. So I didn't love the Zay Flowers fit. Not because I didn't love Zay Flowers. I didn't love the fit for them. At the end of the day, when it all said and done, and Lamar playing in the AFC North, when it's all said and done, it's going to be grit and grind. He got to go to Cleveland. He got to go to Pittsburgh. He got to go to Cincinnati. And that grit and grind is going to sometimes turn to him running that damn ball. And I think that's what's going to end up happening, where I think Fields is going to try to prove to everybody, like, oh, yeah, I can pass. I'm sick of people saying all I am is some runner. And I think that's going to hurt Fields, actually, when he starts doing that.
I don't know, man. Lamar's talking about legacy, playing in a Super Bowl. Like, the way he's talking, I know it's the right thing to say, but I think his legacy truly matters to him right now. He's going to be either known as a one-and-done MVP that couldn't finish seasons, or he's finally going to take the Ravens to a Super Bowl where he can prove that his MVP wasn't a fluke year, and he actually deserved it that year, which he did, but there was some controversy. So I feel for him, it's about legacy right now. Not I got paid and who gives a shit. I really feel he wants to, like, more than any quarterback right now in the league, all eyes are on you. Like, what are you about to do this season? Can you stay healthy? And can you find, because for the past 2 years, the Ravens have had the best record in the AFC, and then the year before, the best record in the AFC North. So it's not like they haven't got to the point where they were supposed to be in the season ready to contend and go to the playoffs and do some damage. Plus, last year with a backup, they took Cincinnati to overtime.
Yeah, I mean, the team was solid. I think the biggest thing with the Ravens, though, is they continue to go out and try to get him running backs. And unfortunately, that 1 year, it was like every running back that got in the organization, like, tore an ACL, tore Achilles. Like, it was like one after the other. But I don't know.
Stay healthy either. Even more why I think you're going to have to run.
Yeah.
Dobbins and Odell, these two are always hurt. I know y'all say he's always hurt.
It sounds like he's going to get hurt here. So I'm going to really stick with Justin Fields because he doesn't miss games.
But the thing, I've always questioned how hurt he really was last year because, and you remember they did an organization because some of this, I think he was protecting himself to get that contract. So I think he was like, I'm not coming back out there. And I wouldn't have.
Definitely have played. Will he have played good? Who knows?
He would have played better than Tyler Huntley.
I just think I don't think his arm is as good as everyone thinks it is. I don't think his pocket awareness and being able to sit in the pocket, like, that's one thing I think that we look at, like Patrick Mahomes, right? He is a scrambling quarterback when he first came in the league, but now he's developed into both facets of the game. That's why we call him the greatest quarterback in the game, because he can throw it downfield. He can also run it outside and get you 15 yards, right? So Lamar, I think, arm is mediocre. I don't think he's as strong downfield as everyone keeps saying he is. That's why they get these 2 tight ends for him and that are really good, and he can just dump it over the top.
Think about it, though. You're saying that statement, but you're saying that statement about somebody whose number 1 wide receiver is Willie Snead.
Yeah.
Well,
I get you. I get you. They haven't had threats.
Hollywood Brown supposed to be this hot shit. I didn't see it, but everybody
As Trey,
he was going to be out the door.
I mean, I guess I get that point because of like he hasn't had the weapons there, right?
But does he have the weapons now? Do you believe Odell?
No. I said that. So I don't understand the Odell signing because he's had 2 torn ACLs, and yeah, Odell is flashy and good and everything, but I would have rather that signing been in like the Rams did. Remember the Rams got him in like week 14 or 15, and he had a torn ACL then. Because Sean
McVay, no love for your boy Nelson Aguilar, huh, John? No love for your boy Nelson, huh?
Hey, he won us the Super Bowl, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Man, you heard that man on that commercial. I was out there.
He's their number 4.
He won a Super Bowl.
Rashad Bateman showed signs that he's ready this year. Mark Andrews is the second best tight end in football easily. There's Kelsey, there's Andrews, and there's everybody else in the league trying to catch up to those 2. He has legit threats this year, and like I said, their offensive coordinator is going to dial things up to make it an explosive offense. It no longer needs to be Lamar.
Offense and the Baltimore Ravens do not belong in the same sentence ever. That's not the Baltimore Ravens.
All right.
It does not belong in the same sentence.
We'll see.
You know, like it just clicked to me like 73 episodes in and whatnot. I just realized that we're Steelers colors.
I just realized this. That's what you're saying.
Like mind blown. Like I was like, wait a minute. Like, okay, so the people are gonna think we're like on the Steelers.
I said, can I get a yellow and black jersey? Not a black and yellow jersey.
No, you're gonna get a jersey with Gabe Davis' face all over with his number on the back, and I love Davis on the back
all the way.
All right, who just went, Trey?
Yep.
All right, Grandpa Jay, go. All
right, so mine is. I was kind of surprised that Anthony Richardson was named the starter, so soon. I thought they would kind of draw it out towards the end of preseason. So here's my this or that. Will Anthony Richardson overachieve and win Rookie of the Year, or is it Bryce Young to lose?
So you're saying
Anthony Richardson will win Rookie of the Year. I'm saying it right now. I'm standing strong on that. And Pat, and I know people in the back would say, and I'm saying Rookie of the Year. I'm not even saying even Bryce Young. I know people would expect me to say CJ Stroud. Okay, I can say this now. Now the season's over. I wasn't as high on CJ Stroud. Justin Fields was a different case. I love Justin Fields, Ohio State. CJ, it was up and down. Bryce, he's got. I don't like anything he has out there in Houston. I don't necessarily love the coach situation, but if Ant got to, he gonna figure it out. He gonna run. He gonna bulldoze some people. That dude just I feel like it's gonna be one of those seasons where he's just gonna do everything. They're gonna fucking suck, but they're gonna lean on him to literally, and especially if they lose Jonathan Taylor. Before you know it, dude gonna be the leading rusher on the team, and he might be throwing his fucking self with that roster.
He may be the leading.
He might be the leading receiver, quarterback. He might be kicking the ball. This like Booby Gibson, and he can pass. Like they say, this might be one of those type of situations. So yeah, I do expect, especially now they put him as a starter coming this early, and I feel like that says something because that's a vote of confidence to say that they really believe in him. When a lot of people kept saying this is a raw talent, we don't know if he's gonna be ready, but they think he's ready, and I think that's gonna be a boost for him to basically go ball out. And it's not a shade to Bryce. I'm not 100% sold on Bryce. Bryce is a tweed. If y'all seen that specimen that Anthony Richardson is,
yeah, I mean, Go ahead, Bree.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like either personally.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Pick, like any running back in the league that's a rookie before both of them. I'm going to say no. I think that the Colts are hoping he's good. The Colts are planning to go with the Peyton Manning way of suck that entire first year, get those interceptions out of your system, so we can get another first pick, and we can get someone really good. Like, I don't know, Marvin Harrison to pair along with you, and we can build our legacy. I personally don't think he's going to do shit. He's going to be so bad, we're going to question if he should start next year. But I think next year he'll be phenomenal.
I tell you, the Colts would love having another Harrison jersey on there, lining up on the outside.
Me and Grandpa Jay are get on the same page all day.
To answer your question, it's tough because Bryce Young, they're in similar situations in both teams, right? Like they don't really have. It's like they have good pieces in different slots. Like I like the Colts secondary, not secondary, like linebacking core. I like their front seven. Like their front seven I like them, but their secondary is weak. I don't even know who he's throwing the ball to other than Jonathan Taylor, who's not there anymore. So
Pittman. You got Michael Pittman. You got Paris Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell. Okay, nothing special.
Paris Campbell. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with who's gonna win Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Richardson just because he's been NFL ready since he got to Florida. You've been saying that too. You're the one that put me on to him. You remember your AR-15. AR-15. We gotta go watch AR-15, John. You were always talking about him in Florida when we were like, we gotta go up to the swamp, see AR-15 play, and I was like, who is this dude? And man, when I watched him play, he did some things against Alabama, and I was like, damn, I've never seen a Nick Saban offense or defense look so confused on a player. And that's the most NFL ready team most of the time, then he makes them look confused. It's got to be Anthony Richardson because he's been ready since Florida.
You know, the only thing I'll say about the Texans, they were very competitive last year.
They were.
Definitely don't think Lovie Smith should have been fired.
No, he should not have been fired.
That was a one and done, though, anyways. He knew that, though.
Yeah, but for them to be so competitive, I felt like he deserved a year or two. They
like an opportunity, right?
What I would say is one of the best drafts on paper that we've ever seen.
Agreed.
And with them getting that draft, honestly, the quarterback can suck and they could still be, competitive. They could be, 7-10 or 8-9, or it could be a shock there.
They got the best player in the draft, in my opinion, and Will Anderson.
Oh, Will Anderson.
I was like, damn. When he was starting to fall, I was like, come on, Philly, get him.
But Trey, I'm surprised. One thing you said, Trey, I know that you would say you're much higher on Justin Fields than you were on C.J. Stroud. I can make a case that C.J. Stroud was the best player on the field, period, for the college football playoffs. The game he played against Georgia, period, he was the best player on the field, and he may have been the best player in the entire college football playoff.
I agree for that one night, but I watched every game. I watched every game of the guy's career. I watched him.
But isn't that the game you want to judge him on, though? Like the one where
I'm a judge him? I'm a judge on 2 Michigan losses. That's what I'm a judge him.
Okay.
Because
I don't know, man. It wasn't C.J. Stroud's fault that Ohio State lost.
It wasn't C.J. Stroud's fault for that one game, but I watched a lot of games where a lot of throws were left on the field and things such as that, too, along the way. He did have a loaded team, so did Justin Fields. But I'm not saying C.J. was the worst thing ever, but at the end of the day, Justin was more of a gamer. In the fourth quarter, we were down and you had to hand the ball. Justin, at no point did I ever feel doubt. I felt doubt with CJ in a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, shit. Like, you can ask John. Me and him talking, I'd be like, and he'd be like, you think y'all come back? So, I don't know about that. Anytime you ask me about Justin, I'm like, we coming back. We down 14, we getting back in it. Because Justin just has that gamer in him. Whether he has to run it, whether he's going to, it's certain stuff where, like, CJ, if you remember, one of the plays, Ryan Day was at fault because he fucked up and didn't call timeout. But remember, there's also the play where CJ's holding the ball and then he ends up taking a sack. That shit literally happened at least 6 times last season, either going to the fourth quarter or going to halftime when they're trying to run 2-minute drills. There's a lot of awareness issues that I have with CJ that I just don't trust. CJ, at the end of the day, was throwing to, and I guess so was Justin to an extent, but look who the fuck he was throwing to. The one difference Justin had was the X factor of shit. If shit broke down, Justin was gonna take off. He was cool. CJ is scared to run. The only time he wasn't was in the damn Georgia game. I couldn't believe who the fuck that was. So I know you can say
you brought up my point.
Well, the one thing I'd say about CJ Stroud.
Me?
What's that?
Yeah. What way?
Oh no, my point. I mean, I know that what I'm about to say is not the rule, but you don't really judge people off of one game. But CJ got judged on the Georgia game. To me, that was the game that made it matter. To me, that was really the difference maker.
Yeah, because it was between him and Young the whole year, 1 and 2. Who's going 1? Who's going 2? Who's on 1? Who's going 2? And then Anthony Richardson comes out of nowhere. It's like, what the hell? All right, cool. But I mean, CJ Stroud isn't someone that should have been drafted to a team who already had established quarterback. Let's just say somewhere like the Jets that now got Aaron Rodgers to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a few years. He needs a coach that can coach him, right? He needs to be in that perfect system in order to learn the game. Justin Fields, I feel like, is just an athlete. He can just go out there and do what he can do. You know what I mean? But
yeah, remember Justin transferred to Ohio State in the middle of the summer, showed up, took the job, and just took off without even having to play. But CJ was sitting in the locker room for time. So, just little stuff like that where CJ is, I think it's a little bit of a slower curve with CJ than like Justin at the time.
Yeah. All right, Jay, what's your prediction on yours?
I think everybody's forgetting how good Adam Thielen once was. He's not the receiver that was that guy that's going to obviously be there for you and kind of like a poor man's Cooper Kupp when he was having a great season 3-4 seasons ago. But having that veteran leadership on the team to help DJ Shark and to help Chenault Jr. kind of understand the game better, I think Young has so many good options. And he doesn't have a bad running back committee either. So I feel like things are going to be better off for Carolina than people think. I actually think because the NFC South is so wide open, they'll compete for the NFC South, which puts Bryce Young in a much more favorable position than Anthony Richardson. I don't think the Colts win 4 games. I think Carolina can actually get close to 500 and flirt with winning the division, and that kind of puts Bryce Young in the conversation for Rookie of the Year because they will overachieve tremendously based on the NFC South sucking that much. It's not saying that he'll play that great. It's just Carolina would probably win more games than people think, and I think that's why he gets the edge over Anthony Richardson, even though Richardson's going to be the big ticket. I think people are going to be a little RG3-like, possibly, you know what I'm saying, flashy, doing big things on the field. People are going to be like, my God, who's this kid? He's going to be that big ticket guy in this class. But in terms of who you have to give the award to, I'm going to lean towards Bryce Young.
Can he throw the ball like 90 yards in the air or something like that?
He can do some crazy shit.
Bryce Young? Yeah, he's...
No, I'm talking about
Anthony Richardson.
No,
Anthony Richardson.
He could stick it like
but Bryce Young has secret strength too. I mean, I watched a few tapes of him throwing it in Alabama where he was just in warm-ups, and he was throwing it like just flat-footed just from the 50 just into the back of the end zone like on a fly. Like, it was pretty impressive. So for his size...
He's been going to the Manning camps. He's also been a counselor at those camps. He's a student of the game. So the guy plays the game from a standpoint of how you would want a rookie to come in and not understand how he's supposed to play in the system. He will be X's and O's, cross every T, dot every I. Yes, coach, I'll do this, coach. And he comes from the Saban system, right? So, right there, there's a bit of an advantage from that standpoint of him coming in, having that sort of coaching.
What's the advantage?
For me, it's just a lot. I'm not saying that Alabama quarterbacks come in more ready, but I feel that Alabama quarterbacks have that sort of preparation that a lot of other teams won't have based on the fact that you are expected to be a winner. And so you learn how to become a winner, not on the field, at life, because you have to be a winner at life to win on the field first. And that's the expectation in Alabama. So I know they're running back you, and now they've become wide receiver you. But I think Bryce Young might be the best quarterback to come out of Alabama, period, other than your boy Jalen Hurts, who I predicted last year would be the guy. Thank you very much, Jalen, winning that fantasy league for your boy. But I really, you see, you believe in him too, right?
He didn't win the Cinco Squad.
Jalen we trust.
Jalen won the Cinco Squad fantasy league.
He does.
Single-handedly won games last year.
Nope, because who I started that shit on one league? I started Kirk Cousins and won our league. Amazing.
Yeah, well, tell them who else you had at wide receiver. Somehow it fell into your lap.
It fell in my lap. Y'all was all before me. I was like the sixth.
Whatever.
Ain't my fault if y'all would have skipped Justin Jefferson and let him fall in my lap.
All right, let me take it home with my this or that. I think it's pretty interesting with mine because it may sound like, okay, yeah, that's dominant that side, but I don't think so. When you really look at both teams and what they acquired in the offseason. All right, the Steelers win the AFC North, or the Patriots win the AFC East.
Hell no.
It's
now, so Brandon, you're shaking your head pretty firm.
You gotta pick one or the other.
You gotta pick one or the other.
The Patriots aren't winning unless the other three quarterbacks tear their ACLs. I'm only going with. I don't even want to pick the Steelers because I'm only okay. I'll tell you why I picked the Steelers. Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin has had teams that I expected to be, get the number 1 draft pick. He's had them at 500. So he has what I would say is his best team in a few years. So I can see some surprises. I could see Pickett. I'm thinking I was talking about George Pickens, but I guess I can say him and Kenny Pickett. I can see them evolving. The defense is always going to be good. I feel like that the Ravens and the Steelers have the staple of having good defenses, like no matter what. So even though I would be surprised if the Steelers won, it's the Steelers. So why would I be surprised at the same time? And Joe Burrow's out a few weeks. So Steelers. Yeah. If anybody picks the Patriots, I might log off.
Well, do you know who has the hardest schedule in the league this year predicted?
Isn't
the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
So that
the Eagles do, but okay.
Well, no, by what's been in terms of how they look at the schedule, because I do believe the AFC East is a lot more competitive than the NFC East from top to bottom.
Oh, agree. 100%.
Right?
100%.
So I think that plays in the fact that 6 of their games are going to be ridiculously hard, where they can lose all 6 for the first time ever under Belichick. I really, truly believe that's a possibility. So there's no way I can pick the team that might go 0-6 in their own division. The Steelers have it just as rough, though. You're talking about the Bengals possibly being the best team in the AFC from top to bottom and having that winning mentality over the last 2 years. The Ravens with a healthy quarterback being able to compete and contend. And then I think everybody's forgetting that Deshaun Watson's a $230 million guy that has to prove himself more than anybody in the game of football this year. If there's anybody that has to prove it, and he may try and overdo it, it's Deshaun Watson. So the Steelers are going up against more to try and win the division, but the Pats are in too competitive a division. So if I have to choose one over the other, I have to go with the Steelers, even though I don't think any of them finish higher than 3rd. New England's finishing 4th.
All right, Trey, what do you think?
That was easy. The Steelers. You already know what I was going to say.
All right, so you want me to go to me?
But in all seriousness, the Patriots, I think the Patriots are going to finish last in their division anyway. So I mean that hands down. When you look at this, at the end of the day, the Bills, they have a better roster. You have Josh Allen, whatever you want to say, whether they keep Diggs, happy or not, they have a better roster. The Jets, I'm not as in love with the whole Jets as everybody else is, but they still have a better roster than the Patriots. The Dolphins, I'm actually probably higher on than most people. Definitely better roster than the Patriots. I think the Dolphins actually are a quiet Super Bowl contender, but that's for another day. But the Patriots, and I agree with, this came up before Brandon, that the Patriots, they might fuck around and be in the bottom 5 for the top pick in the draft. I don't fucking trust Mac Jones. That dude fucking sucks. Let's keep this 100. Mac Jones fucking sucks. They tried to sit here and bitch him for some guy named Zeppi last year, and half the people are booing Mac Jones off the field. They can't even get that shit together. Belichick, he's made a lot more errors as he's getting older. Belichick at times just looked like a 75-year-old coach. I just don't see it with the Patriots. I just really don't. And Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, but just lately it has been certain lapses. Remember they had that whole game with the lateral and they lost the game like that? They were doing shit that wasn't the Patriots way. They lost 3 games doing shit like that last year. Last year, don't forget this, Bill Belichick hired fucking Matt Patricia to be the offensive coordinator. Matt Patricia was a defensive guy. I don't know. He might be falling off the deep end. And that's just keeping it in the buck. But I don't trust Mac Jones. I'm not going to say I don't trust Belichick because Belichick's Belichick. But as long as Mac Jones is sitting there behind center, the Patriots are going to fucking suck. And that's the truth of this matter. So I'm not going to tell you why the Patriots aren't going to win the division.
Don't sleep on Bill.
John, before you go, just to show you how much respect they have for the AFC East this year, top 5 hardest schedules: New England, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Chiefs. So you're talking 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC East in the top 4 hardest schedules. That's how much respect they have for the AFC East.
What are you reading?
NFL teams with the hardest schedules in 2023. That's what I'm reading.
I mean, what website? What website? Obviously, I know what you're reading. What list? You behead? What kind? What website?
I pulled it up on 2 separate websites, and they have another one has the Pats and the Dolphins up there in the top 5 as well. So one is
the NFC East is kind of
Football Network,
but all right. So
Definitely tougher than the AFC East.
So ultimately, you know, I'm gonna say my 2 points on this. So the Patriots over the last couple of years have been acquiring a lot of players in the free agency. They've probably been on the move in free agency the most out of most of the teams in the NFL that I've seen. You know, got Mike Gesicki. They got Mike Gesicki this past year. It's a solid tight end with the Dolphins last year. They got Jabril Peppers, my boy from Michigan. They got Zeke, who probably has maybe another year or two left in him. Juju, who just came off a Super Bowl run. But you got to think, Belichick is known to take in these guys that you don't think are going to fit into a system and ultimately do something with them. Obviously, you had the greatest quarterback of all time leading those teams. But I'm not saying Mac Jones is anywhere near that. But for namesake, I picked back in March the Steelers are going to win the AFC North. And I said that back in March, and everyone looked at me crazy. But the Steelers are going to, and I do believe that. The Bengals will finish second, the Ravens will finish third, and the Browns will finish fourth.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. You want to put a little bet money on it?
I'll put a freaking dime on it.
Lock of the week. Go ahead.
My lock of the week, everyone put money on the Steelers because, I mean, I've been watching their interim practices with other teams, and Kenny Pickett's decision-making has been the best that I've seen when I've been watching them on YouTube. Obviously, I know it's practice, and I know they're doing things that they're just trying to different plays and stuff like that. But I truly think the Steelers are winning that division, and they better win that division because I made a call back in March, and I'm gonna put some money on that.
John, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, John? Talking about practice. Come on.
Talking about practice, man. Practice.
Come on. They make Justin Fields look like a hero in practice. Come on now.
Yeah. But, you know, I have the Steelers. I thought the Patriots was a good one just looking at who they've acquired over the last few years. I'm like, okay, so I see what Belichick is doing. He's doing his typical thing where he's recruiting in guys that aren't top-tier level guys, but they're guys that can run in his system. And that's basically what he gets. And a lot of the guys were like, oh, who's that? And then all of a sudden they go off for like 1,000 yards rushing or 1,000 yards receiving, whatever. But
they might have the best one of the best defenses in the league still, and that's their only saving graces. They got to keep teams under 20 to win games.
Yeah, maybe.
How that went for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the team I think that's going to win that division is the Dolphins. They're too stacked, and they got way too good on defense, especially bringing in who'd they bring in last year?
Jalen Ramsey came in. They brought in.
Well, no, he's gone for the year.
Not for the year.
Not for the year. He'll be back later.
Hey, he tore his Achilles.
No, he didn't.
No, he'll be back
Jalen Ramsey's out for like 6 weeks, and they got.
He'll be back late in the year.
I thought he tore his Achilles. He didn't tear it.
No, you jinxing it, man.
Right, trying to put him out here. Damn, what Jalen do to you?
He didn't come to the Eagles.
You do know it's only 53 spots. I've heard John.
I mean, and also you got back in the game.
Come on, baby. Come on, everyone. Everyone. Aaron Donald, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Ramsey. Come on, let's go. We'll put them on our back. Saquon, let's go. We'll just run an offense through all that.
Okay, so in past times, what I would always be doing around this time of year would be playing Madden. But I'm going to be honest, I'm sick of this shit with EA Sports. Madden has gotten worse and worse every year, and they don't do anything but basically update the roster. So at this point, EA Sports wants us to pay $70 for a damn roster update. I can do that my goddamn self for free. If you look at the ratings and go on Google and see where Madden's been rated lately, this year, Madden 24, 1.6 stars. Last year, 1.7. 2022, 1.4 stars out of 5. Nobody's fucking with Madden anymore. The EA needs to give that shit up. They have exclusive rights until 2026, and that's unfortunate because they basically ruined that brand of football. A lot of y'all, I get it, y'all thirsty, so y'all gonna buy it anyways, but they're not gonna keep robbing me for my money. So I'd rather keep my $70, do something better with it. I don't know, maybe go spend some money on going to a game, or spend some money to buy a red zone, or do something with the real NFL season. But Madden not about to keep doing this to me. EA Sports, remember when y'all used to have NBA Live? Y'all messed that up, and then 2K took over. Y'all got lucky because y'all kicked out NFL 2K. But I can't wait until NFL 2K can possibly come back in 2026. And eventually EA Sports is going to lose Madden the same way they lost NBA Live back in the day.
There's a lot of guys that have changed uniforms from teams to teams to teams, right? So we have our Jersey edition back in July about basketball. Now we're going to do Jersey edition football. That's only right? So I'm gonna throw it over to Grandpa Jay to see what player he picked for the Jersey game.
I did mine a little bit different. So mine wasn't so much on how we did the style last year. I wanted to do this one to kind of see where your head's at, John, because
So you want me to go first?
know where you're going. So I kind of went more with who do you think the best player to ever wear number 20 was?
Oh, that's easy.
What's our options? Because I have no way to research this.
All right, so I'll give you the 4 options, and one of them is probably going to be the easiest of them all. So we got Rondé Barber, Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, or Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders was already what I was thinking in my head.
Barry Sanders is easy.
No, Brian Dawkins.
What? Barry Sanders is top 10 all-time football player. Brian Dawkins isn't even top 50.
What? Man, that dude used to take souls out of people, man. What you talking about? He used to hit people. You ever hear Tequila Spike tell him about that time? He's like, I'm gonna take his soul, Spikes. I'm gonna take his soul. He's like, I like B-Dogs.
Yeah, I gotta add me disagree with you, John. The reason I gotta add me disagree with you because Brian Dawkins isn't even the top 5 safety of all time. He's not even the best safety to wear 20. Ed Reed's the best safety to wear 20. Barry Sanders is the best player to wear 20, though. Ed Reed's a better safety than Brian Dawkins. Ed Reed did everything. He could check you. He intercepted. He might run that bitch back. You know, remember the Ravens back then? They weren't even scoring. They were scoring 6 points. Ed Reed had to take that shit and then run it all the way back, return a punt, come up to the line, check your best receiver, whatever you needed, he could do it. So, nah, I mean, it ain't shade to be dog. He was cold, but with that being said, Barry Sanders is the correct answer to this question.
Brian Dawkins might be the worst of the 4 players.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Who was the 4th one?
Rondé Barber and Ed Reed.
I think I'll take Dawkins over Rondé, but
I might, but
that's a close one.
I'm gonna say he's the
but
worst.
Yeah, it's Barry, then Ed Reed, and then y'all can hash out another 2.
I'm not even picking Barry because I'm in Detroit. I'm picking Barry.
I just wanted to do that one for fun. So here's the real.
Who's your actual jersey?
The actual jersey is number 92, Mr. Reggie White.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you're just going down the Philadelphia Eagles like roster.
I mean, time. He's one of the goats, and it's kind of like where do you want to choose? Which team do you want to choose? He fits on the best in terms of where you remember that 92.
The Packers for me. It's the Packers for me because I just remember like him in that Super Bowl, and that was one of the first Super Bowls, not the first, but one of the earliest Super Bowls I can actually remember watching as a kid. I didn't really live to the Eagles, Reggie White, as much. It's not saying he wasn't good there, but I literally remember Reggie White actually as being one of the first football players I remember, and it was in a Packers uniform. So I remember like even the first bet I ever placed in my life. I remember I bet one of my mom's friends. I bet him a pack of Starburst on the Packers to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Like I actually literally remember because I was like, "What's a bet?" And he's like, "Oh, we just do this." And he explained to me what a bet is. And I'm like 6 or some shit.
Did you get like, Starburst?
Yeah, because the Packers beat the Patriots that year. Of course, yeah. So I bet like a pack of Starburst.
That's the important part. That's the important part.
The Packers won, but that Reggie White was just different because I just remember being the minister of defense and just seeing the smoke coming off of his head and seeing that green and yellow and just watching the cheese heads go crazy. Like that is Reggie White as I remember Reggie. What about you, John? What you thinking?
So you would think I would say the Eagles out of, being a fan, but I wasn't alive for Reggie White. So when I started watching football, I saw this big 92 in green and gold. So I always remember him being a Green Bay Packer. So me remembering him, as a Packer, but I don't like I said, I wasn't alive for the years he was with the Eagles. But I mean, obviously, I'd love it for him to be a part of the Eagles squad that whole year. But I gotta say the Packers just because that's one of the times I remember seeing him play. Brandon?
I guess I'm the opposite. I didn't realize until a few years ago that Reggie White even played for the Packers.
Really?
I know that's kind of embarrassing to say, but everything I know about Reggie White is Eagles. Eagles. So that's just what resonates with me. I didn't know for a while that he even played for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it's vice versa. I like for like the longest time when I became an Eagles fan, when Donovan got there, like I kept seeing 92, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, and I looked him up, and it'd be like, oh, he's with the Packers. I'm like, okay, cool. So he played for the Packers. Everywhere I see is green and gold, green, gold, green, gold. I'm like, oh, he played for the. Why would we give him up? Like,
I think
that's why.
Playbook taught me that, actually.
What's that?
Silver Lining Playbook. I think that's what taught me about Reggie White even playing for the Packers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was like a quick line in there about him not being on the Eagles or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I looked it up. Like, oh, this is real. Like, I didn't know this.
Like he actually played for other teams. So Jay, who do you think? Because I know you watched him play in both scenarios.
Thanks, buddy. So yes, I had my early taste of football around age 6 or 7 in the late 80s, and my dad introduced me to 49ers football, and every time I'd watch them play that damn team, I'm like, who the hell is this guy that's just eating up anybody trying to block him? He was a havoc. Like, no matter what age he was at, the guy all-time leader in sacks for Philly. In fact, he had 124 sacks in 121 games, which was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
He had 20 sacks in 87 and 12 games. He averaged 1.75 per sacks per game with Philly that year. Just the guy was a monster in Philadelphia, and everybody knew that he was the best player on the field on both sides of the ball. And I think that's what he's remembered for, no matter where he played. Played with one of the greatest ever, Brett Favre, and everybody was still like, Reggie's the best player on the field. But I do have more memories of him in Green Bay because Green Bay kind of got in the way of San Fran probably going back-to-back Super Bowls with Steve Young, and I was still more leaning being a San Fran fan at the time before I became true and loyal to the Tampa Bay, once Yuccaneers, now Buccaneers. So even though the green and gold resonates with me, I just remember as a little kid being like, this guy is a monster. He has the longest arms I've ever seen out of any football player. Nobody can slow him down. Double team him, he's still getting through. He's tossing players around like the little boys. I just remember him being one of the first players I remember just being a man amongst the biggest men in the world and mishandling them. And I just had a pure respect for someone that could be that good at their craft that he makes everybody else look bad at their craft. So I remember him as an Eagle, just making life really hard for Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers and everybody else that tried to block him and get in his way.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I mean, he was a beast. He was like of the D tackles, he was like kind of like Lawrence Taylor, and we got two of those, in Lawrence Taylor and him in the same era almost.
Yep.
All right, Trey, who's your jersey, or who's your player, I guess?
So there's a lot of back and forth for me, of course, as it always is. This guy, a Hall of Famer again, so we all lived through his career. The guy I selected was Terrell Owens.
You guys are just loving me.
Yeah,
that's a really good one.
Yeah, so Terrell Owens, we got, and I'll let y'all go in a second. We got the 49ers, of course, for a few years there. Then we got the Philadelphia Eagles for that Super Bowl run. And then we got the Dallas Cowboys years. I doubt any of y'all can pick Cincinnati, but feel free to pick the Bengals years if y'all want to. Or if y'all want to pick me, pay for the Bills or that Canadian team. But go ahead and hash it out. Brandon, who you got?
Give me the Eagles, because Terrell Owens was going to be the only reason the Eagles won that Super Bowl if they won. He came back in miraculous timing from a broken leg. And, you know, he finally loved a different quarterback. So it just worked out. I wish it would have worked out longer, though.
Me too.
Of course, John.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to agree with Brandon on that. It's definitely the Eagles because, you know, I heard about Terrell Owens, and then like the year before we got him, I like watched him very closely because there was a lot of rumors about that. And I was like, okay, so we got like, let me see what this guy can do. And he was just like, when he did the star and everything, I was like, oh, we got to have this guy on the team. Donovan's got to throw to someone, right? Instead of like Todd Pinkston and all those guys, right? So he honestly helped Donovan's career. And Donovan may not want to say it, but I'll say it as an Eagles fan and as a diehard Donovan fan behind me, as you can see. My favorite player of all time. Ooh. But, you know, he helped Donovan's career immensely. Like, put him on, like, the map of, like, top 5 quarterbacks at that time. So, I got to say Eagles. Trey?
He helped every quarterback of his career.
Oh, easily. 100%. Even in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I was going to say he put great numbers in Cincinnati.
No, he did put great numbers in Cincinnati.
But that was too bad because that was like the year I think they that Chad Ochocinco and him linked up, but he
Yeah.
was just so he was so like pretty much ready for retirement that he was just like, it would have been nice to see that like maybe 5 or 6 years before, like Chad Ochocinco and him, the two duo going at it, like going like in the same team. But yeah. Trey?
So it was a lot of back and forth because with the three main teams, they all had iconic moments. So the 49ers, you have that moment in the playoff game where he catches that touchdown. I think playing the Packers. As he drops all those passes, then ends up catching the touchdown to win the game. You have him like crying, and Jerry Rice has him like in his arms. Then you get to like Philly, where of course he goes to that Super Bowl. So that's this crazy iconic moment. And then the Dallas thing is one of my favorite memes. That's my quarterback. Yeah. Remember that's him or Rumble. So sometimes I think of that meme. So in my head, I said, I don't know where I freeze frame him at, but I think I would have picked the Eagles ultimately. And it's funny because the Eagles is the shortest of those teams where he spent time. I think he did 3 or 4 in Dallas. He did like 6 in San Francisco, maybe 2 in Philly. But it's for the on and off the field stuff. He brought a different energy to them. So that's one big thing that he did. I thought he brought the best out of Donovan McNabb at the time. But just little stuff like when he got sent home for practice and he's in the driveway working out, and they got helicopters flying over, like the whole spectacle of him going there. I remember it was a big deal if he was going to go to Ravens or Eagles. Which bird was he going to go to? Him taunting Ray Lewis, doing the Ray Lewis dance in Ray Lewis's face. All these type of moments that were just happening. And then he ends up breaking that leg, which another thing which makes it another reason I kind of put that, because the image of him breaking that leg, remember, is why we have the rule of the horse collar, is because he broke his leg by being horse collar, which is currently why that rule actually exists. So even when you start to factor those type of things in, and then just that performance in the Super Bowl where if they would have managed to win, that would have probably went down as one of the 3 best Super Bowl performances by an individual in Super Bowl history. So as crazy as it is, he only played 2 years with the Eagles, but the Eagles, yeah, that's my pick. What about you, Jay?
49ers all the way, man. I mean, the guy in the twilight of Steve Young's career, he came along and he made Steve Young look like a young kid. And then when Jeff Garcia took over, of course, first line was Jeff Garcia ain't no Steve Young, but Jeff Garcia made him look like the best receiver in the game. I think even though any quarterback, doesn't matter who was on the center, he would have done his thing. But the games against Dallas, the who was on the star against Dallas, the shit talking and letting everybody know, fuck America's team. We the 49ers, like, y'all can take the Cowboys all you want. We got their number now, and they finally got the best of the Cowboys when the Cowboys were on the downtrend of their mid-90s dominance, early 90s dominance. Yeah. The guy was just an animal anywhere he went, but I loved him in San Francisco. He by far was a polarizing personality. I think San Fran wasn't really known as that sort of team because Jerry Rice was such the opposite as the consummate professional that you have another guy come in and he's the opposite, but he's almost just as talented. Obviously not as good as the greatest of all time, but Terrell in a San Francisco uniform was something special. He was my favorite player at the time in that San Fran uniform, so I'll always remember him in a 49ers uniform. Even though the antics were great everywhere he went, he was a spectacular player, one of the best catches he ever made. Playoff game, I believe they were playing Dallas. Game was about to go to overtime. He was like, nope, Jeff, throw me the ball, caught the ball between 3 people at the goal line, fell into the end zone. San Fran wins and moves on to the NFC Championship game where they went on to lose. I believe they lost to they didn't lose to Atlanta that year. I remember who went that year. I don't think it was Atlanta. Whoever Denver beat the year before Atlanta. I can't remember who Denver beat in that first Super Bowl. But
was it the Packers?
Packers.
Yeah, probably was the Packers. Yeah, it was the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I mean, it's kind of funny now that Jerry Rice is now like the biggest shit talker now, and like he kind of like is on the sidelines doing like with all the rings. He's like doing all this. Like I'm like, damn, this doesn't seem like Jerry Rice, but it's funny though because a lot of those guys like a lot until recently, a lot of people always said that like he was like a very like quiet guy, but I've been hearing like rumblings that he's like was one of the biggest shit talkers too. Like he would talk shit to corners like when he would line up across from. He'd be like, "Oh man, you got." Yeah, like he would like line up across, but I got this guy. All right, this is an easy touchdown, like type of shit. So that's funny. So Trey went, Jay went, and
Brandon. Who you got?
Brandon Jones.
Man, I keep trying to go back and forth for the 2 guys I want to go with, and I'm like, you know what? This is a sports show. I'm not going to go with the guy I wanted to. I'm gonna go with the guy I should.
No, I'm kind of curious. Wait, I'm almost curious. You can't tease that and then not go there.
No, let him go with who he should go with first, and then you get teased.
Okay, yeah, because now I feel teased.
Okay, Anquan Bolden.
I almost picked him. It was actually
it was funny when you mentioned him earlier. I'm like, I got him written down.
That was one of my people on my list.
He played for the Cardinals, Ravens, 49ers, and Lions.
Oh man, it's tough because he had like significant years with all those teams, like especially the Cardinals and the Ravens, right?
Yeah, those are probably main.
I gotta say the Cardinals because ultimately that put him on the map for me. And like when the Ravens got him, I was like, oh, they're easily Super Bowl contenders. Then they got Torrey Smith. And I was like, oh, shit, they're good. Like, they're about to win the Super Bowl this year. So, like, I got to say the Cardinals, I remember him the most because I was just like, damn, I hope the Eagles can go get him. Because I remember at that time, it was like Eagles were getting all the receivers. And, like, I thought that we were going to get Anquan Bolden, have Deshaun Jackson there as well, have all the crew there with Shady McCoy in the backfield. But ended up going to the Ravens. So I remember him in the Cardinals uniform. Trey?
I was back and forth. Like I said, I almost picked this one myself. The Cardinals years were great because it was him, it was Larry Fitz. But for me, it's the Ravens because that was the year we won the Super Bowl, and he was making some crazy catches. Really, at the end of the day, he's the reason Joe Flacco fucking got paid. It's all because of that guy and those ridiculous sideline catches. He, for 4 weeks straight, it didn't matter who the hell he was checking. He was going to go up. He was going to get that shit on the sideline off your helmet. He might run you over. He had a certain type of toughness and physical side to him, which I always liked when he was with the Ravens, which was like the Ravens culture. So for me and the Ravens with him, that shit was like, it was different. Like a lot of people at the time thought he didn't have that much left in the tank. Remember, dude was pretty slow. And I think that's the more amazing part. That dude couldn't outrun me at the time, but it didn't matter because all he had to do was throw that shit up and he was going to figure out how to get that ball and score. And they really didn't have, I mean, I know Torrey Smith was cool, but all he was a vertical threat. When the shit hit the fan, Joe Flacco looked at him, he threw in that ball, and Joe Flacco fucking got paid. So I damn well know Joe Flacco would pick him, even if I didn't pick him as a Raven. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens for Anquan. Jay, who you got for him?
You know, for that reason you just said, I feel like him and Fitzgerald were probably the most overlooked duo in NFL history, where they were probably the best duo and never got enough credit because they weren't flashy guys. They were just probably the most consistent duo in the game at the time, but they didn't have what people wanted was that speed factor or something to make them stand out. They were automatic. And to me, if you're automatic, you should be considered the best duo. But I'm with you on him being a Raven. The guy made catches to the point where, like, everybody knew it wasn't Flacco. Like, right away, you're like, Flacco's not doing this. His guys are making him look great. And even, I used to call Flacco Count Flacula because he looked like Dracula. I was like, man, Count Flacula was riding on these guys' coattails because he knows he could just throw the ball wherever, 6 yards out of bounds, and Bolden's there reaching with one hand, pulling it back in, making incredible plays week after week. Yeah. And when I think of Ravens football, I think of him and Ed Reed. So, you know, if I'm thinking of a team and two people come to mind, and you're one of them, I got to think that's the team I'm going to remember you most with.
Yeah. Brandon, who you pick in this situation?
I'm going to go outside the box like my original pick. And I'm going to go Lions.
I knew he was about to say that shit.
But I got a reason.
One of the most hometown pick.
So, I'm going Lions because I don't know if you guys remember the game. Do you guys remember him with the Lions?
No.
I do.
It's crazy that you don't. You know why?
Yeah.
He had a phenomenal twilight.
He had a good year. I'm looking at stats.
It was like, what the fuck were you thinking picking up this guy, right?
Yeah.
But I think he led us, or he was like very close with touchdowns that year.
Yeah, he had crazy 8 touchdowns.
He stayed in my fantasy year, and I'm like, wow, this guy is old, this guy is slow, but we keep throwing him the ball. He keeps catching it. He keeps running. It doesn't. He's like that guy, that older guy in the pickup game, and you're just like, something tells me I should pick this motherfucker because why is he even here? And then he actually goes and he balls out on everybody. That's literally what he did. That's why, you know, it was like, that's why I picked him because nobody expected that from him.
Hey, Brandon, who's throwing him the ball?
It was Stafford, right?
That's right. Matthew Stafford. The guy we highlighted a couple of weeks ago that should be in the Hall of Fame. It was Matthew Stafford.
We talked about it. As a fan, I picked Matthew Stafford, but if I'm not a fan, I would say I need him to have a couple of really good Pro Bowl type seasons for him to be in there.
Was 2016 with Anquan Bolden? Was that the year that you guys had that like play against Dallas, where it was like came down to the wire and like I forget what happened in that game, but
it was a Thanksgiving game, wasn't it?
No, it was a playoff.
Dallas.
It was a playoff game.
I don't think it was him, but we got screwed. Calvin caught the ball and they said he didn't.
Yeah. So I remember like I didn't know if it was that year, the 2016 year, if that was the year against the Cowboys in the playoffs. So that's a good one.
I want to hear who he should have gone with. Who should you
have?
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite players, Darius Slay.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know if everybody's going to know Darius Slay, but to me, he's a top 3 corner in the league.
Hell yeah.
I just like him as a person, to be honest with you. He like when he was playing for the Lions, he used to go to all the high school football games. He's very honest on Twitter about like, yeah, honestly, I shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. All these guys are better than me. Oh, I dropped this coverage and blah. Like he's like a real man to me. Like he doesn't sugarcoat shit.
No.
He was real about everything that happened with the Eagles. The Eagles were smart to bring him back. The Lions should have let him go, but we shouldn't, if that makes sense. Like financially, yes. I thought it was crazy that the Eagles are bringing Matt Patricia over there, knowing what he put that defense through with the Lions. But he's one of my favorite players, so that's why I was going to go with him. But I was like, I don't know if we could have the conversation we just had about Anquan Bolden with Darius Slay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Slay, though, that I noticed when he came to because I watch a lot of the press conferences just because I enjoy watching those and like hearing the guys talk. He's the one that's kind of like straight shooter, like, you know, we got to be better. We got to do this. We got to do that. Like, and I like listening to his and Jalen's press conference more than anything. But I really do like Slay a lot. I was really happy we brought him back, to be honest with you.
Do not call him Darius.
Why?
Oh,
big play.
Look up the clips of people calling him Darius. He does not like that. He will continuously.
I'll just call him Big Play.
He will continue to interrupt a reporter until they acknowledge that they will not call him Darius moving forward.
I haven't noticed that, but
yeah, I feel him. Like it's Slay. Okay, Darius. No, it's Slay. It's Slay. It's Slay. What is it? Slay. Thank you. Then like he in his straight face. There's no laughing. He's dead serious. So
that's funny. That's funny.
I know that.
All right, well, let me go on to my person. And I had a few guys that were kind of like off the wall. They're all like 3 different positions and all 3 different players. But I'm going to stick with my original one, my boy from Michigan, Charles Woodson.
Charlie Woodson.
Who had a great career in Oakland and in Green Bay. So, Jay, who do you think?
Oakland all day, man. Yeah. Oakland all day. And here's why. Because somehow the Patriots ended up being the dynasty team instead of the Raiders, all because of a botch call that we know pretty much now as what should have been known as Brady fumbling the ball and costing the Pats the game. It changed the whole dynamics of football at the time, which to me was the most bullshit call ever in football. If your arm's going forward and you're in the act of throwing the ball and it looks like you're throwing the ball, that's a freaking fumble. And Charles Woodson was the whole reason for that. And he changed games single-handedly. To do that at his position is incredible. I think he was what was he in terms of a defensive Heisman? Was he the second in 20 years or something like that when he won it?
Yeah. I was first, to be honest with you.
I can't think of another defensive player that won Heisman.
Yeah,
Desmond Howard was second.
But he was special teams, right?
No, Desmond was special teams, wide receiver. He was wide receiver, but he also played corner too. So like it was tough. But he was mostly known for wide receiver, though.
If you can stand out in college football where it's an offensive league, it's an offensive game there, and be the man, and then come to the league and prove it. What he did in Oakland, the freaking guy was unstoppable. I loved his attitude. I loved how he played the game. I love the Brady, the special him and Brady had afterwards. That just
when Brady's like this, like and he hits the ball. What happened?
He admitted it.
Fumble. Got you.
I love that special.
And that's a great stamp.
I always remember him, the silver and black man. He just, I mean, he embodied the idea of Raiders football, and that dude was just a criminal. I loved him in the Oakland uniform.
Brandon, who you got?
I'm gonna go Packers. Yeah. We're talking about a Michigan man that won a Heisman. And he's a defensive player. I think the most memorable has to be the most memorable moment in this situation in his career, which was actually winning the Super Bowl.
Which he did go to with the Raiders, but lost.
I mean, yeah, and you know, you don't really want to remember somebody for,
of course,
that was a fake call, anyways. So I gotta go Packers because that's the positive moment in his career. I can't go negative with it.
In the snow game, Trey.
I think for me it's the Raiders. He was great with the Packers and was cool because he actually got to go from corner to safety and still play, which is something that most people can't do. So I always thought that was dope. But for me, it was the Raiders just because it's something about him and that silver and black just had a mystique. I actually remember having a Charles Woodson Raiders jersey when I was a kid because I just thought, like, the Raiders jersey looked sweet. He looked sweet in it. He was swagged out when he used to go out there and play for the Raiders. And, it's something about that. Because even when he got to the Packers, he was still really good. But the Raiders, he was, like, by far the best corner in football, undoubtedly. And, like, I remember even, like, playing Madden with him. He was, like, a 98 and shit on there. And if you threw it his way, you might as well just fucking gave the ball up. Like, it just was, like, ridiculous, the version of him with the Raiders. So I would say the Raiders for me. What about you, John?
So this one was tough because, like, I had 3 uniforms, right? Michigan. But I never saw him at Michigan because I was like 3 years old when he won the Heisman, I think. I would say I've been going back and forth about this like for 2 days now, trying to figure it out. But I would have to say the Raiders just because, you know, when you think about that, you know, black and silver, like you think about Charles Woodson, the historian. All right, so man, I just got some update about Notre Dame's athletic director saying that the college football game right now is a disaster. And most of the times I disagree with him, but I am gonna agree with him at this point. 12-team playoff. We're losing a conference at this point. Teams are flying all over the place. We have no idea. We have no structure right now in the college football games. 4 potential teams are leaving the ACC. What are we doing here? Are we just going to have 2 conferences with 75 teams in each conference? Like, I'm not understanding what's going on right now. And most of the time I would disagree with him, but at this point I got to agree with him at this point because it's been terrible, man. It's been just, what are we doing in college football at this point? We could have had it better 3-4 years ago if they just made 4 conferences, had the conference champion of each play for a college national championship. That would have left the decision out of people's hands, and we would have had a solid college football playoff instead of having 12 people in a room on a Sunday or Saturday deciding who goes there, most of the time being biased. So what are we doing here, college football? Can we get some, like, structure in what we're doing throughout the game of college football? Stump the squad.
Yes, sir.
Thinking about this all day.
Let's get it.
First of all, we want to thank you for being here with us so we could have our quartet on the show. And welcome to the best part of everybody's day. That is Stump the Squad. We've revamped the show. As a special guest, you do get a chance to get the dub. What we've done is we normally used to do week by week, and the winner gets to do the rant of the week. However, we've flipped the script now. Now we have an ongoing scoring system. Yours truly has won the first 2 weeks of the new system. I'm going for the 3-peat here.
In overtime.
What we're going to do is we're going to have a cumulative score up until our 100th show. The person that has the most wins by the 100th show gets the championship belt or the crown or the ring or whatever we see worthy as the grand prize. What we do is we ask each other questions. You get it right, you get +2. If you get it wrong, you get -2. Person with the most points at the end wins and gets that dub of the week. Boys, good luck because I'm ready for this trifecta, baby. Let's get going here. We are going to start it off at the top of the screen. I see TreyDay sitting up there. Hopefully he didn't go like me and choose a question from 1912, but Gotta see some historic look in his face here. So let's see what.
Take this back to the 2000s. So we're not going to quite.
That was so long ago.
Yeah, we're not going to take it quite back that far. So earlier in the show, I did a rant, and the rant was about Madden and how I'm basically just sick of their bullshit over at EA Sports. Meanwhile, there used to be another fun game that actually came out, which I actually enjoyed, but I wish it would return. That game was called NFL 2K, which was eventually rebranded to be ESPN Football, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how much you all remember of the game, but there were 6 editions of the game that came out. Which one of these 4 players I'm going to name was never on the cover of NFL 2K?
I actually think I got this.
Okay, so let's see what we got. We got Warren Sapp, Terrell Owens, Brian Urlacher, or Marshall Faulk. I'll repeat one more time. Warren Sapp, Terrell Owens, Brian Urlacher, Marshall Faulk, who was never a cover player on NFL 2K.
I'm going Warren Sapp.
You're going Warren Sapp, okay.
Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens, Jay, okay.
I'm gonna go Marshall. No, because Marshall Faulk would have been right around that time, and it was the greatest show on turf. I'm gonna go Brian Urlacher.
Okay, so
he was defensive player of the year. I know for a fact he's Terrell Owens.
So today, I have successfully stumped the squad.
No.
It's fucking Faulk.
Marshall Faulk was on the cover of Madden.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew he was on the cover of Madden. I
knew
I wanted to go with him.
That's why I threw it in there. I was like, somebody's gonna think I see him on the cover of a video game that was Madden.
I remember him on the cover of Madden. I just thought he got that cover.
I didn't know which one was.
I thought he had both.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like an
Marshall
NFL
Faulk.
Live too? Or was that
No, that was 2K.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
so
was the best game.
T.O.
I agree.
So the first 3, the person I did name, the first 3 covers was Randy Moss.
Oh,
They
okay.
used Moss for the first 3, and then I think I can't remember the exact order, but T.O., Warren Sapp, and Brian Urlacher.
I remember T.O.
I think T.O. might have been the last year, I believe.
Wasn't Vic on one?
Huh?
Michael Vick wasn't on one?
He was on Madden.
Madden.
Yeah,
In 04. In the same era, Vic was on Madden.
Hey,
so.
Trey, for a second, I thought you were going to say NFL Blitz. I'm like, oh, that was my shit.
I know, right?
I love Blitz. I love Blitz.
Used to punch you like as you're going out of bounds and send guys into the
Blitz
stands.
was dope.
Damn.
I love Blitz.
Right.
So let's go ahead and pass it off because he's been anticipating this. Let's pass this off to Brandon. Let's see what he
Good
got.
stuff, Trey. Good
All right.
stuff.
I got to go Detroit with it. So who was the last Lion to rush for 1,000 yards before Jamal Williams? A, Barry Sanders, B, DeAndre Swift, C, Reggie Bush, or D, Kevin Jones?
I feel like the Kevin Jones one is like a trick to be right. I don't even know who Kevin Jones is. Sounds like my account.
Oh, you want our choices one more time?
Who was the last Lion to rush for 1,000 yards or more before Jamal Williams? He did it last year.
Before winning last year, okay.
Barry Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Reggie Bush, or Kevin Jones?
I'm gonna go Kevin Jones.
Okay.
I don't know why I feel it.
My accountant.
Barry Sanders.
Okay.
That sounds right too.
I'm gonna go with Swift.
I have officially stumped the yard.
What?
You stumped the squad.
Let me break
It's
this
Reggie
down.
Bush.
It is Reggie Bush.
I just did a whole rant on Bush. I didn't
Kevin Jones, I will be honest with you. I don't know who the fuck that is. No. He actually did it
Oh, that was a real
a couple years before Reggie Bush.
Oh, okay. So I was.
That guy has played.
He has done it. I don't know who the fuck he is, but he was clearly some guy.
And he could run.
Maybe Google lied to me because I was like, I'm gonna put this because I don't know who the fuck he is. Reggie Bush had a baller season with us, and we didn't have 1,000-yard rusher for ages, and he finally did it.
Wow.
But
crazy.
DeAndre Swift has never ran for 1,000 yards with us. I don't even think he hit 800.
I can't remember if he did. I just feel like Barry was too damn far back. I think Kevin was a real person.
Never played enough games.
And I just went on a rant last week about Reggie Bush and the USC and how all of them were failures in the 05 USC because they had one Pro Bowl team.
That USC team reminds me of the Fab Five.
Yeah.
Except
Chris Webber was a baller though.
True.
Yeah, they still have more success. The Fab Five didn't lead than that 05 USC squad.
Jalen had a good amount of years, yeah. All right, who you want next, Brandon?
Who didn't go? I thought everybody went. Am I crazy?
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, but it's all right. We're all crazy.
Grandpa Jay hasn't went and John hasn't went.
Oh, my bad. All right, let's go with Grandpa Jay.
Yes, sir. All right. So since we're sticking with the NFL themes, football show all the way around, I'll give you, since I went old school last week, we're going to very current this week. Gentlemen, can you tell me currently what jersey is the most worn number in the NFL? Is it the number 2, the number 26, the number 25, or the number 9090? So which jersey is the most worn in the NFL? Number 2, number 26, number 25, or number 90?
90.
I'm gonna go 25.
I think it's 26 though.
Brandon, what'd you say?
90.
Gentlemen, and the theme continues. I have successfully stumped the squad. John, you should have gone with 26.
That's my number too. Damn.
Every single roster except one has the number 26 on it. So,
Damn.
Damn.
Man, this is a shitty week. I'm not gonna lie.
Ever had us go
when Mike watches this show, Mike's gonna be like, "Yes, everybody got it wrong this week because we were giving him shit last week."
We gotta phone Mike in for a tiebreaker because Jamie's at -4. I'm at -6. Trey's at -6.
No, Trey should be at -4.
4. I'm sorry. Yeah. And Brandon's at -4. So, I'm pretty much everyone's in it so far.
It's gonna be fucked up if we all get yours right.
Yeah, no, it's gonna suck.
You gotta come up with a tiebreaker.
Throw us a layup.
I probably will though. All right, who holds the most rushing yards in a career in college football?
Oh, I'm definitely getting this right.
Most career, so that means their entirety of their college football career. Is it Mr. Tony Dorsett out of the University of Pittsburgh, Jonathan Taylor, Donnell Pumphrey, or Ron Dane?
The answer is B, Ron Dane.
I'm going Ron Dane.
I don't know those last two, so I'm going to go with Darnell Pumphrey. Sounds like a porn star, so.
They get a lot of rushing yards too.
Yeah.
Did Jonathan Taylor go to Wisconsin as well? Where did Jonathan Taylor go? Penn State or Wisconsin? Where Taylor?
Wisconsin.
Yes, I don't know if he beat Ron Dane's record. I'm thinking in my mind now. Maybe he did. Anyways.
All right. So Jamie and Trey say Ron Dane and Donnell Pumphrey for Brandon. So I have successfully stumped. Sorry, Brandon. Stumped Brandon this week. It is Ron Dane with 7,125. I had to look it up because Donnell Pumphrey's like right there next to him, actually. So he's number 2. He's number 2 on the list because he played for that San Diego State team that was like really good. He used to
3
rush.
weeks in a row, baby. Overtime.
So Jamie,
let's go.
All right, I got my tiebreaker. I've had the tiebreaker all week, and it's a golf question. So,
my God. There we go.
I don't know about golf.
So, Justin Thomas posted on his story. If you don't know Justin Thomas, he's a professional golfer. Went to the University of Alabama. He played in a bunch of tournaments this year, and he calculated how many miles he traveled to each tournament, combination of all the tournaments. So, Trey and Jamie, closest to it gets it right. How many miles did Justin Thomas
travel this year?
This year.
This year. Okay.
This year. Because the FedEx Cup is almost done. Their tournament's almost done. So how many miles have they traveled?
While they're thinking, if someone goes over but they're closer, do they still win?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not Price is Right.
Yeah, not Price is Right rules.
Because it'd be tough. It'd be tough because like
I would say one. Okay.
I'll give you one hint that he did travel overseas. So I'll give you one hint.
$17,500.
I'm gonna go with 13,000.
I'm not in this, but I'm gonna go with 8,800.
Yeah, go ahead and guess anyway.
Brandon says 8,800. Well, all three of you weren't even close.
It's like 30,000, isn't it?
So this week's Stump the Squad winner and goes for the trifecta is Grandpa Jay.
It's 30 grand, isn't it?
His total for the year were 40,181 miles in 1 year. And he played, I think, 25 or 30 tournaments. And that's going across season and everything. So congratulations to Grandpa Jay. He is 3-0 and Stump the Squad.
Baby.
I don't even know if we deserve a win this week because of how many questions we got wrong.
Shit, I'm taking this still. I got one right.
Well, congratulations, Jay. You're a 3-0 bastard. So we'll go back here. So, fellas, that's our remember to tune into our socials here. But any final thoughts before we head into the weekend?
Yeah, let's go, Julien Alfred, into the semifinals of the 200, looking for that medal for St. Lucia. Let's go, Julia, and let's go.
Yes, well, I'll be cheering him on. Oh, and everyone, make sure David.
Her.
Okay,
yep, Julien
let's
Alfred.
go her.
Yep.
And also, if you're listening in San Antonio or Texas or in anywhere and you're a boxing fan, David Cardenas fights this weekend in his second professional fight. We will have the live stream link here. I'll get it from him on Friday, so I'll put that on our social. So make sure you go and check it out. Hopefully he wins and goes 2-0, and then he's got 4 more fights, he says, this year. So wish him the best of luck. And David, Brandon, thanks for joining us today. Do you have any final thoughts before heading into the weekend?
Final thought. The Detroit Lions actually sold out of season tickets for the first time.
Wow.
The hype is real. We're coming. So I'm realistic, man. I just want us to actually have a home playoff game. We haven't had one since I was 2. But Detroit is some grinders, man. And, just be happy for the city. We're really happy, and we've been standing by our team even in the 0-16 games where they should have beat Dallas and didn't. We've always been standing by our team. And for once, we have a really good owner. We have a really good GM. We have a really good coach. We have a really good staff. And we have a really good team.
Yes, sir. So best of luck to the Lions. They were the most impressive team last year. I don't buy into the Seahawks, but make sure you guys tune into the socials. Brandon, thank you again for joining us this week. We appreciate it. We'll put Brandon's podcast, Cocktails with Cocktails, in our description. Go check it out. It's a great podcast. We'll see everyone here next week on episode 74. Mike will be back. We have NFL talk and a lot. So everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you here next week. Cinco Squad out.